All right, I thought I'd come out here and just give you a quick update on what our crops look like. Right here, we're in the very first planted corn that I had. And yeah, I know it looks like a growed up mess. And if it don't dry up quickly, it will be a growed up mess. It's just been raining constantly here for the last week. The last time we were actually able to be in the field was 6 days ago. And with this warm weather, this cover crop that we sprayed with paraquat is starting to come back out, especially the annual ryegrass, like that right there. Paraquat is not able to actually kill annual ryegrass. It just burns it all the way back down to the root, but it weakens the plant enough that when we come back with Roundup, it'll actually, the Roundup will kill it 100%, whereas if we just spray with Roundup on the front end, there's a chance we wouldn't get a complete kill. But anyway, in this first planted corn, I gotta say I'm a little disappointed in what I'm seeing. The cool soil temperatures have definitely played a factor. I mean, overall, we've got a stand that we're not going to have to replant, but it's not the stand that I was hoping for. You can tell coming up right down there through the row, you can see it in the cover crop. The corn here is about V1, almost V2. But then what we're getting in to, what we're seeing a lot of is late emergence, just because of cool soils. For whatever reason, a particular seed just took forever to get up out of the ground. If you look right here, you got a nice plant right there. This is the V1 stage, and then you got one that just emerging. That one actually started leafing out underground because it took so long to reach the soil surface. Now what it'll do, yeah, I don't know, but chances of it producing the size of ear that I wanted to is not good, especially when you got two healthy neighbors on each side. And see, here's another one, late emerging right there. And then otherwise, you got a pretty good stand. But then you got a few issues. You know, you can see the water right there. When we just got rain yesterday and last night. You know, this is kind of a wetter area of the field. You got corn that's behind, and then leafing out underground, just starting to emerge. You know, that's just a plain factor of the soils were cold, and the corn germinated, but then you had you know, the soil temperature cycling up and down. The corn really didn't know which way to go, which way was up, because sometimes when the temperature dropped, the soil up above would be cooler, so then it kind of want to turn and grow back down instead of going towards the soil surface. So that's the kind of problems we see when you got cycling in the soil temperatures with cool weather and stuff. But then you walk up out of here, out of this flat spot, you know, where it's a lot more well drained. The soil stayed a little bit warmer. The corn looks a whole lot better. So you can kind of look down through the row there, and corn's definitely a whole lot bigger. It's almost the V2 stage. Looking good. Got a better stand. Don't see quite as many late emerged plants as you do just 30 feet away. So we've definitely got to get a herbicide on this as soon as possible to get this cover crop killed, because the corn is not too far away to get to the point to where any kind of weed competition is going to start hurting yields. So anyway, like I said, this needs to be sprayed ASAP. I don't know when we'll be able to get here and get it, because you can see, I mean, the ground is saturated right now, and it's like they're calling for a chance of rain again tomorrow, which will be Thursday. I think a chance of rain maybe like Saturday, Sunday, again next week. So I don't know, but we got to get some Roundup, our atrazine, and our RMQ on here as soon as possible. So overall, the stand's not terrible. It's definitely not worth replanting, but like I said in my planting videos, I'm no longer at 100% yield potential. I don't know what I'm at now, but you know, there's some seeds out here that are not going to come up. There's some that's late emerging that's not going to reach their full potential. So really don't know what we're at, but it'll definitely look a lot better once we get it sprayed and get the rest of this cover crop wiped out. So we got a few more fields to check. Let's go see what they look like. Maybe it'll be a little bit better than them. All right, we're out here in the field, the very last field of soybeans that I planted that we finished up just a little over a week and a half ago, I think 12 days ago. Anyway, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out here. Soybeans weren't really quick about coming up. Of course, we knew that with the cool weather, but they are coming up, and right now they are looking good. You can see down through there a nice line of beans. You see the cotyledons out. The oldest plants are starting to poke out the first trifoliates. Occasionally you'll see a few stragglers here and there trying to come up, and the one thing, we're worried about two things on getting soybeans up. One, the seed rotting, not germinating, and then two, when the soybeans come up, they come up like this with the stem arched and the cotyledons pointing straight down, and we call that crook right there, we call it the neck, and you're worried about them breaking their neck trying to force their way up out of the soil. You can kind of see what I'm talking about right here. See how it's got a crook right there, and it'll break right there in that crook, especially if the soils get hard and dry. But those will make it up, no problem. You got a few stragglers like that coming up, and you know, we planted a population of 140,000 seeds per acre out here. Realistically, to make 100% yield, you know, you really only need 110,000 seeds per acre, especially as early as they're planted, and we've definitely got that. We got more than that. So I'm really tickled with this soybean crop right now. Now all it just needs is plenty of days like today, nice sunny weather to grow and maximize its yield potential. All right, well, I reckon we'll ease on and look at a couple more fields of corn. I feel really good about our soybeans with the other stuff I checked, so we'll check a little bit more corn and let you see what it looks like. I decided to quickly walk across the road into my neighbor's cornfields, kind of show you a no-till field without all the cover crop. Kind of seeing some of the same issues here they were seeing in mine, with, you know, a few seeds that didn't come up. You know, you look at right here, missing a couple seeds there that just didn't come up. The emergence was probably a little bit more even, judging by the size of this corn. He probably planted a few days before I did, so but even still, you're seeing a couple late emergers. So I know the cover crop probably didn't help my corn getting a nice even emergence, but you know, it's just not relegated to our cropping practices. You know, we're seeing it over here in no-till too. You know, this guy, he's got a good stand, nothing wrong with it, but it's not a 100% stand like what you ideally would want to see. It's just not me that's affected. A lot of people in this area, they're planting the same time or seeing the same things. All right, definitely looks like another growed up mess out here, and well, frankly, it is. We'll get it taken care of though. It's not hurting the corn right now, but definitely makes it a little tougher scouting stand out here. But we're in one of our last planted fields, and it's really hard to tell anything out here. This is a really wet bottom. I mean, we got water standing, and it's really tough to see the corn plants. But overall, let me get down in here. You know, got good spacing. I mean, it's up. You know, the corn is up. What we looked at over there close to the tree line, definitely the wettest part of the field. Might have to drop in and replant some of that. We got 6-7 inches of water standing where it kind of drains out of that hillside, and it's definitely the coldest wettest part of the field, and might have to drop in and replant a few acres there. Just not sure. Got to give it more time. Some of it was just still emerging out of the ground, so we got to get in here and get all this sprayed and killed and give it a little bit more time to come up and see what we got. You know, if we have to drop in and replant a little bit there, not the end of the world. But this was probably the field that I was most concerned about. And again, I hadn't seen the whole field. You can't see the whole field with the way this cover crop is really put back out. But you know, checking what I think is some of the more concerning parts of the field, now I'm pretty happy with what I see out here. It looks like we got a little bit better stand than we did on the very first field that we planted and that we checked. Soil temperatures had come up a little bit since then, and it's really funny how I've seen over the years that, you know, how much a 12 or 24-hour difference in planting date can make a difference on whether you get a good stand or not. But overall, I mean, I think this looks pretty good considering the conditions it's had to deal with. So next step, just try and get in here, get it sprayed, and then we can further evaluate and see what we got. I mean, it's really hard to evaluate what you got when you dig in your seed trench and it instantly just fills up with water. We still got a couple plants, you know, still trying to come up. I checked up on top of the hill up there that was planted the same day, and we got a picture perfect stand up there. It looks great. It's just down here in this old cold wet bottom that still got to do some more evaluating on it. Just got to give it more time. All right, just to show you a little bit of our wheat crop, we sprayed last week with fungicide. I mean, it looks really, really good. Best wheat crop we've had definitely in at least 3 years. We won't know until we harvest it. But if you look at it, you know, the anthers have pretty much fallen off. It's done pollinating. Got a nice thick wheat crop here, plenty of tillers, plenty of heads. The heads look like they're pretty good size. Just got to wait and see a little bit longer, see how many seeds per spikelet it puts on. Most time it puts on 3, sometimes it can put on 4 if the conditions are right, and with a little bit cooler conditions, that would suit the wheat crop even more. I would expect the seed size to be bigger, heavier, and potentially put on more seeds. Anyway, we definitely hit this thing at the right time with a fungicide, and if we hadn't sprayed the fungicide, I don't even want to think about what would have happened, because the weather conditions the last 4 or 5 days and then what we got coming up the next few days is absolutely perfect for disease development. So our wheat crop should be good and protected, but we ain't got that fungicide on, it probably would have been ugly. Anyway, that's a brief crop update on what we're looking like in the fields. Showed you our wheat crop, our corn crop, our soybean crop. Still don't have a cotton crop to show you because we ain't got any planted, but hopefully that'll be going in the ground pretty soon. Well, I can tell you, as soon as it dries up, it's going to be really busy for us. We got several things we got to do. We got to spray the corn crop. We got to plant cotton. Have to spray soybeans not too far behind that. We're going to have to get some nitrogen out on our corn crop. So we definitely got our work cut out for us whenever it dries up. Hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later, so we don't have to cram all that stuff into a smaller time frame. While we're driving back to the office, I'm going to tell you about a plan I just came up with. If you've been watching our videos for any length of time, you've probably picked up on the fact that I've got soybean contracted this year for an extremely low price. And by extremely low, I mean like $7.60 a bushel low. Yeah, I had just to make a long story short, I had a contract that I did last year that at the time was a very good deal, because we've been dealing with really low soybean prices for 3-4 years, and I got it at what I thought was a good price. And then nobody could have predicted, nobody foresaw the soybean prices they started going up at a pretty good clip last fall, and it continued until that day. And Anyway, that contract that I had, it wound up doubling on me. I had enough soybeans to fill my old contract, but for that type of contract, if the price was at certain levels, it doubled on me, and that's what happened. I didn't have enough soybeans to fill that part of the contract, so I rolled it over to this coming year. The difference in the market price and what I actually had it contracted at the time I had rolled it over was about $2 per bushel difference, so that had to come off the price. So that's where I've got the $7.62 or $7.60 a bushel or so. I did buy a call option. Unfortunately, I got out of it too soon because I thought soybean prices had stalled. We wound up picking up about 40 cents a bushel off that call option. But right now, January beans, what I sell on is about $14.60 a bushel. I mean, $7 a bushel less than what I've got it contracted for, and it's just tearing me up. I don't have any more soybeans that I feel comfortable with contracting right now to try to pick up some of that. So, and I don't feel comfortable buying out of that contract now because, well, for one thing, I'll be looking at 25,000 bushels times around $7 a bushel. I mean, you're looking at $175,000 right there that I'd have to put up to buy out of that contract. I can't quite do that. So what I decided I want to do is watch this soybean market closely, try to catch it at its high. The highest the soybean market's ever been in history is somewhere like between $17, $18 a bushel. So my thinking is, if soybean prices continue to go up, and as January comes closer to the front month, it should go up because the demand is there. Try and catch it at its highest. And if it gets somewhere between $16, $17 a bushel, I'd say that's probably at its highest. And then I'll contract 25,000 bushels of beans at that price. Now, I'm not going to have the beans to fill both contracts. So what my plan is because we know soybeans, they're not going to stay at that level. I mean, if it hits that level, most likely it's going to be brief. And then, what always goes up will come down. I know soybeans are going to come down. I just don't know when. But hopefully if it's for early May now. Hopefully soybeans hit that level here within the next month or two. I can contract those beans, and then I've got about 6 months there that I know that there's a pretty good chance the market price is going to go down, especially once we get into harvest. That's typically what it does during harvest, is go down. So say I contract beans at $16.50 if they make it that high. It'd be another $2 a bushel that it's got to go up. Say I contract beans at $16.50. Well, then say the market starts going down, and I don't know how low it's going to go. I'm just going to have to watch the market, read my newsletters. But say it drops from $16.50 down to $13.50 a bushel. I could then buy out of my contract and feel comfortable with it because I've already got beans contracted at a lot higher level. And then I would be able to pick up that $3 a bushel. I still have to put up a lot of money to buy out of that contract then, but I don't have to buy out of it at, say, the $13.50 level, and then I've got $3 of profit there that I could average in. So that would bring my $7.60 a bushel beans up to, if I pick up $3 profit, bring it up to $10.60 a bushel beans. Still not great compared to what it's at, but it's a heck of a lot better than what I've got right now. So that's going to be my plan. I'm just going to have to watch this soybean market like a hawk, which here the last couple weeks I've been trying not to pay attention to it, because every time I look at it, I just get absolutely sick to my stomach. Because not only did I, by doing that contract last year, that type of contract, not only did I really hurt myself this year, I also hurt my landlords too, because I got a lot of landlords that are on share rent, and I'm hurting their income, and I've also got to keep that in mind too. So the best thing to have done, if once I found out I was going to roll that contract, I should have bought out of it then. I don't have to buy, it only cost me $2 a bushel, about $50,000 to get out of it then. That's what I should have done. I had no idea that soybeans were going to keep going up the way that they have. I mean, we're seeing prices that we haven't seen in 9 years. Anyway, don't know. I mean, a lot of things have got to go right for this plan to work out, but if some of these things happen, it at least gives me a fighting chance of getting a significantly better price on my soybeans than what I got now.